Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Following news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air. First it was Texas, now the deadly flash flooding in New Mexico. A wall of water sweeping homes away, a soldier and his wife and 2 children. Also breaking in the Northeast, severe storms, damaging winds, and now flash flood alerts as we come on. First tonight, the deadly flash flood emergency in New Mexico now. Homes ripped off, foundations carried down the river. At least 3 people dead. And tonight, the story of that soldier, a young husband and father, and his family swept away. They found the husband and wife alive. Their 2 children did not survive. In Texas tonight, the death toll now climbing, and the chilling new video now emerging of a mother and her son climbing trees to survive. You can hear the 15-year-old son calling out for his mother.
I can climb higher, but I'm okay. Are you high? Mom, are you in a tree?
Both of them in trees, and her 2 daughters were at that girls' camp, Camp Mystic. How the family survived this. And tonight, what ABC News has now learned about the warning systems. Authorities held discussions of a flood warning system at least 20 times since 2016. Most recently, just months ago. Back up and what he's learned tonight. This evening in the Northeast, we're watching flood watches and severe storms on the move right now. Millions of Americans under alerts for potential flash floods and damaging winds. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, the rain in New York City. Police racing to help drivers trapped under downed trees. Thousands without power. Ginger Z is here. The heartbreaking news tonight, authorities and their new warning amid the rising number of hot car deaths involving children in this country. Tonight, a young mother now facing charges accused of leaving her 2 sons in the car while she went to get a cosmetic procedure. The temperature outside above 100. One of the boys did not survive. The number of cases mounting tonight. Just hours after President Trump lashed out at Vladimir Putin with the largest airstrike on Ukraine since Russia invaded. Tonight, back here at home, the case of a woman paddleboarding in the Northeast and missing, and now the coroner is calling this a homicide, where her body was found. Tonight, due to dramatic rescue, the driver unconscious after a collision with multiple cars, officers rushing to pull the driver from the burning car. The stunning Coast Guard video tonight, 2 boys stranded at the edge of this cliff. The warning involving a popular brand of crackers tonight, and so many of you at home reacting after our interview last night in Texas, the man searching for his mother and father along that river. There is an update tonight just in from him, what we've learned now. So many of you with words of support, and his new message to everyone watching tonight. From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News.
Fox News digital exclusive, sources say that the Justice Department is investigating former FBI Director James Comey and former CIA Director John Brennan in connection with the investigation of President Trump and Russia. No details about what they are looking at with Comey, but with Brennan reportedly suspected of possibly making false statements to Congress. Former House Oversight Committee Chair and Intel Committee member Trey Gowdy questioned CIA Director Brennan about all of this during what became known as the Russia investigation.
Do you know whether any of the underlying allegations made in the Steele dossier were ever tested, probed, examined, cross-examined, whether the sources were examined for reliability, credibility?
I know that there were efforts made by the Bureau to try to understand whether or not any of the information in that was valid, but I don't have any first-hand knowledge of it.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
Because it wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done.
Yeah, that's a problem for John Brennan right there. Trey Gowdy joins me, host of Sunday Night in America, and here on Fox, and he joins me now. Great to have you with us, Trey Gowdy, and great to look back at your, everybody loved watching Trey Gowdy handle those moments because at an oversight, it was a huge responsibility to try to pick this apart. But John Brennan's problem is that in one place, behind closed doors, he's saying that it was included in the report, that he wanted it to be included in the report. And then on the other hand, he's saying they didn't need it. Oh, we had so much evidence. We didn't need the dossier, which we all know was a Clinton-funded piece of campaign material, Oppo research essentially. So How do you see this investigation from the DOJ? What is meriting it, and where do you think this is going to go?
Well, I knew he was lying then. I mean, that was an open hearing, Martha. So, as you know, you can't discuss classified information. But if you will look over my shoulder at that hearing, you'll see a familiar face, one Kash Patel, the current FBI director. We knew that Brennan was lying. That's why I wanted him on record. They relied heavily on the dossier. John Brennan knew all about the dossier. So Comey's a little bit different because we don't have him on tape quite like we do John Brennan. But with Brennan, it's just like a buffet of lies. You can literally go through the buffet and pick out which one you want. The guy that replaced me on that committee is a guy named John Lee Ratcliffe, who's the CIA director. So there are not two people in the world who know more about John Brennan's problem with the truth than Kash Patel and John Ratcliffe, and I'm very, very happy that they are looking into it. Overdue.
Let's go to number here.
Fallen under the spell of that Fleabag. Boston, Sunday, July 27 on ABC and ABC IQ.
Today, one pedestrian killed and two others seriously injured after being hit by a car in Mel's East. Considers the recommendations of a sweeping review into anti-Semitism in the country.
This is something the government work with civil society on at all levels.
A damning report details an alleged culture of violence, intimidation, misogyny, and bullying within the CMU Queen. And a missing surfer is found on an island New South Coast. Michaels. I'm Alex Thomas with your latest AV News. A very warm welcome to you. We'll start with some breaking news this hour. And a pedestrian has been run down by a car and killed on a suburban street in Melbourne's East. Police believe the driver lost when the vehicle hit three pedestrians in Wantirna South. Two surviving pedestrians have been taken to hospital, one in a critical condition, the other with serious injuries. We'll have more on that with our reporter on the scene very shortly. In other news, the government will consider the recommendations of a report into anti-Semitism. It was put together by envoy Gillian Siegel and calls for changes to education, universities, the media, and policing to help combat a rise in attacks since the October 7 terror attack in Israel. Political report.
On this Wednesday night, staunch what he says happened when RCMP arrested his son, uncorking old barriers.
Well, I've been waiting for 20 years for this to happen.
When the rules will be relaxed on buying booze from other provinces, and the brewing questions some businesses have. No end in sight, what Ukraine says is Russia's biggest attack yet, and what the U.S. is considering to help Ukraine. Plus, how and where one Canadian couple's letter at sea was finally found. Good evening and thanks for joining us. There is more insight tonight into the suspects plotting to be an anti-government militia. 4 men from Quebec, including 2 members of the Canadian Armed Forces, have been charged with multiple offenses, including facilitating terrorist activity. Police seized multiple weapons and say the men were stockpiling an arsenal. Taria Isri tracked down the father of one of the accused, and she has our top story tonight.
Philippe Audet was home when RCMP officers burst through the door to arrest his son. The first stun grenade came through here, he says. Police raided his rural property west of Quebec City and took 24-year-old Simon Audet into custody. It's hard, he says. I can't accept this. Philippe Audet says his son was in the Van Duze regiment, but recently left the Canadian Armed Forces. He says he liked guns and military training, but denies he wanted to start an anti-government militia.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. France 24, understanding the news. Liberté, égalité, actualité. Hello and a very warm welcome. If you're just joining us, you're watching Daybreak on France 24, and these are the headlines this hour. The US put sanctions on the UN's independent rapporteur, Francesca Albanese, the latest move to stifle criticism of Israel's war on Gaza. The Italian human rights lawyer has called that war a clear genocide and asked countries to take action against Benjamin Netanyahu. Houthi rebels sink a ship in the Red Sea, their biggest strike on the crucial trade route. The ship had links to businesses with Israel. Houthi say they will continue to attack as long as Israel continues to bomb Gaza. Meanwhile, an international recovery conference for Ukraine gets underway in Rome. It comes as Russia once again intensifies its airstrikes. Fires reported across the capital Kyiv overnight. Good to have you with us. Also coming up in the programme, our international press review, with Brazil's papers slamming Donald Trump's blackmail after he imposed a 50% tariffs in retaliation for criminal charges against the former president, Jair Bolsonaro.
It's a line. dbnews.org/. Because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
20 interactive program with a difference. It's fun. No, you didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Please join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. A one-in, one-out migration deal on the cards is likely with France.
But the backlash is already brewing ahead of the final day of President Emmanuel Macron's historic visit.
Solid set lines, undocumented males across the English Channel, and that you are not dictated to by an increasingly arrogant, anti-Brexit, But with a record number of illegal migrants leaving France for Britain, is reformer UK leader Nigel Farage right? Could a new Stop the Boat deal see the Prime Minister being hoodwinked by our nearest neighbours?
And the benefits boom. Income for people with disabilities like ADHD and depression are revealed to be higher than a full-time wage.
A Conservative crisis as the party's former chairman defects. Motions are...
I wanted to be like Ukraine, the British John's Diaries.
British John's.
There's more of them. And ahead of the release of a new show that describes itself as a love letter to London, we're debating if the Britain in Love Actually and Notting Hill is true to life. We'll be talking about that at 7:20.
Titan of the dancing world, we meet the founder of Pineapple Dance Studios on the day that business will final again. Wimbledon.
And journalism, and this is GB News Press.
Pivotal in a second night of heavy Russian assaults. Kyiv says that most of the intercepted falling breeze sparked fires on the ground. Israel expresses hope for a truce deal, but worries persist over its reluctance to pull back troops. I'm Sarah Kelly. Welcome to the program. Says
this
is Asia Now.
Hello and good afternoon. It's 2 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 11:30 a.m. in New Delhi, 1 p.m. in Jakarta. I'm Yasmin Yonkers. At this hour, new tariff demand letters issued by U.S. President Donald Trump reveal one of the highest levies so far for Brazil, while the Philippines and Brunei join the list of Southeast Asian countries slapped with higher so-called reciprocal duties. China says a free trade agreement with ASEAN is ready to be signed later this year. Top diplomat Wang Yi calling on the bloc to uphold openness and cooperation amid Trump's looming tariffs. Plus,
what year is Singapore next scheduled to be the ASEAN chair?
ASEAN, this year is Malaysia.
I didn't ask you about this year. When is Singapore going to be the ASEAN chair?
I don't know when, but this year.
2027.
A tough hurdle for President Trump's ambassador nominee to Singapore at his confirmation hearing as he struggles to explain the role the city-state plays in U.S. national security and also on security in the Indo-Pacific region.
It's on track. Crunch on a migrants deal as Sakir welcomes Emmanuel Macron to number 10.
We'll be joined by the Defence Secretary shortly.
Plus, a big blow for Kemi Badenoch after another high-profile Tory defection to reform.
And the Lionesses managed to bounce back emphatically after their early loss at the Euros.
It's Thursday the 10th of July. We have a wonderful full house here for you this Thursday morning. Here are your headlines. After the selfies, now the talk. Sakir and Mr. Macron hope to finalise a deal on migrants on the final day of the French president's state visit. Tackling the pull factors, we ride along with officers cracking down on migrants working illegally in the UK. Running towards danger, we hear from not of the police bravery awards, including the officers who first encountered the Southport killer.
All of them had this look of terror and fear. Identified the suspect top of the stairs, bloody knife in his hand. So I thought, this is going to go two ways. He's going to listen to us, so he's going to fight us.
The European Championship is back on track after a thumping 4-0 win over the Netherlands.
Emmanuel Macron returns to number 10 for a
Africa News. The news. A complaint has been filed in Brussels against 9 family members of Felix Tshisekedi, the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The accused, who were Belgian nationals, face allegations of stealing from mines located in the provinces of Lualaba and Upper Katanga in the southern part of the country. Those named in the complaint include Tshisekedi's sister-in-law, sons, brothers, cousins, and even First Lady of the country. They are referred in the complaint as accomplices to acts of corruption and other criminal activities. The complaint was entered to prosecutor Anne Francine by lawyers Bernard and Brieuc Maingain on behalf of several NGOs from Katanga and 4 former directors of Ikamin, the Congolese state-owned mining company. The lawyers clarified that the 9 individuals mentioned are not the only ones they accuse of theft. However, this complaint is focused solely on those with Belgian nationality who can be prosecuted in the country's legal system. The president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir, has dismissed the army chief after 7 months in the role and appointed a successor as announced on the state radio. No explanation was provided for the dismissal of Paul Nang Majok in the announcement made late on Monday. Majok had held the position since December. The announcement indicated that Kiir has named Dao Aturchong as the new chief of defense forces. Majok was seeing the army during ongoing clashes between the military and the White Army, an ethnic militia primarily made up of Nuer youths, which has led to the latest political turmoil in the country. South Sudan has officially been at peace since a 2018 agreement concluded the 5-year conflict that resulted in
As Morocco endures a severe heat wave this summer, temperatures have risen significantly in cities such as Marrakesh, Fez, and Casablanca, recording daily highs surpassing 45 degrees Celsius, making it increasingly challenging, particularly for the elderly and those with health challenges. People must find a solution and invest in quality products to face this heat wave, and we can invest in what we can afford. In response, the demand for air conditioning units has skyrocketed. Appliance retailers are witnessing a surge in sales, with some even running out of stock. There is a strong demand, and we have a wide and diverse supply of air conditioners. We offer both international and local brands at affordable prices.
Stop with it. Protect her family from mosquitoes. As an inhabitant of the Philippines' capital city, Manila, Cabreros lives in an area where dengue fever, a mosquito-borne disease, is widespread. After surviving the illness,
in the evening at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, I prepare spray at the whole house, and when I lighting the coil, in all around my house to prevent mosquito.
Avoiding getting by infected mosquitoes is tough, such as new fish on antennas to practice carrying mosquitoes and prevent infestations.
So you do that. So I would show them that, and also so the inspiration for our smart AI-enabled mosquito trap is because surveillance of mosquitoes today is a purely manual process. Traps are laid, thousands of mosquitoes are being collected, most of them are thrown away, and only a very small few are basically looked at. And if there is a disease-carrying mosquito there, then the public health officials keep track of that. But this process is very painful, very time-consuming, and very inefficient. And given advancements in AI, we decided that we can come up with a smart AI-enabled mosquito trap that can trap mosquitoes, use AI to automatically identify the disease-spreading ones, whether it's Zika, malaria, dengue, etc.
While living with mosquitoes remains inevitable, solutions like these give hope in the fight against the deadly diseases the insects carry.
Watering houses so showing the water carrying face away dozens of swift water rescues as people were stranded in New Mexico, in their homes and in their cars, even in trees. The devastating news for a Fort Bliss family, 2 of their children swept away, and the surveillance video showing the rapid rise of that water. 173 still missing in the Texas Hill Country as cadaver dogs are being used to help out search and rescue teams. The questions we're asking about why a better system wasn't in place when county documents show they've known about this issue for nearly a decade. Plus, Al Roker standing by with more on why this wild summer has been so volatile for floods and the next threat coming up. Also tonight, Biden's physician refusing to answer questions about formal health while invoking the Senate committee in stopping capture officers rescue people trapped in a burning car. Who killed the main paddleboarder? The homicide investigation after a woman was found dead after she went out at dusk. Would you let your kids put this car? The new move from Waymo. Great white dark pattern looking from the UK within feet of this fin and the dark.
Anatomy of a disaster. The first accidents. Frustrated first responders.
The car for documented floating down.
This is Evening News. Good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois. John Dickerson is off. We are into the 6th night of the search for the missing in Central Texas. More than 160 people are unaccounted for in the flooding. The number of confirmed dead is now 120. And today we learn more about 2 8-year-old girls from Camp Mystic. Renee Simastrola was an aspiring actress from Ingram, Texas. In school, she played a munchkin in The Wizard of Oz and hoped to play the lead in a camp production. And Mary Kate Jacoby of Houston, her family called her our angel on earth and said her smile melted our hearts. For days, we've been seeing the aftermath of the disaster, and now we have a clearer picture of how it was unfolding in real time. Jason Allen has the new audio recordings tonight. Jason?
Maurice, Code Red is an emergency alert system that the county uses and encourages residents here to add their phone numbers to it. You can send out a message when there is a flood fire. Anytime there's a notification that could save lives. I'm listening to the fire and EMS and the recovery operations.
John David Trollinger is the former Information Technology Director. On the night, dentists forced acts to find food there.
Get a goodbye, and that I'd either come back carrying something or someone would be carrying me.
And Judy Woodruff reports on a group with a proven record of overcoming political divides and distrust.
Before this intent with someone else and work out these tough issues that we all have to work out.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy. During a breakthrough on a ceasefire. It's not clear what Trump and Netanyahu discussed behind closed doors, but Israeli media is reporting Netanyahu is under extreme pressure to reach a 60-day ceasefire deal that would see 10 living Israeli hostages released, along with the bodies of dead hostages, in exchange for the release of Palestinians held in Israeli prisons, many without charge. Hamas negotiators are also seeking the withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza, international guarantees for an end to the war that remain overseen when the International Committee of the Red Cross, and an end to the operations of the U.S. Israel military group, so-called Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, or GHF. Earlier today, hundreds of starving Palestinians in Gaza were forced to move for some city of Rafah to search for food after GHF closed.
Thank you very much for giving time to Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Have a good life. Bye-bye.